Thanks to the support as a channel member, Andrew Mayo. Look, I promise you, if you sell Harrison Davies for £250,000 before the end of this transfer window, the fans are going to turn. Kieran Hodgkinson was a problem. Nathan Curry, even worse. Harrison Davies is our captain. He is our best player. He is our leader. We need him. We play West Ham in the FA Cup today. That's going to make you more money than selling Davies for nothing. We've just got to keep turning down these offers. Hello and welcome to part 36 of Homegrown. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the terrifying end of a transfer window that has included lots of offers for Harrison Davies. Plus, we're away against Lincoln in the league and at home against West Ham in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Since you were last with me, we've had a little bit of a recovery form-wise, but because so many of these games are in the Cup, FA Cup, Papa John's Trophy, FA Trophy, FA Cup, FA Trophy, back in the FA Cup again. We've barely played any league games since the last episode, so league position is still looking a little bit ropey, but we are starting to accumulate games in hand, similar to what we did last year when we had our cup runs. So we are still outside of the playoffs, 50 points, 4 points behind Doncaster, but we have 2 games in hand over Doncaster, 3 games in hand over Notts County, even looking as high as Bolton in third place in the automatic promotion spots. We're 8 points behind them with 3 games in hand. So if we were to win the 3 games in hand, we'd actually move up to third place in the league and back into the automatic promotion spots. The way our form was earlier in the year, winning 3 games in hand would look pretty unlikely, but we might actually end up benefiting from using all these cup games to get us back into form and playing those league games a little bit later. Now our form has recovered. So fingers crossed, we should find ourselves still in a promotion push, but we need to win against Lincoln today to make any of that count for anything. Lincoln are, where are Lincoln in the league? They're up in 5th place. They're one of the teams we're competing with in the playoffs. A defeat today, albeit away from home and one we're not necessarily expected to win, but a defeat today is incredibly problematic when it comes to our promotion push. The other thing, of course, is, look, we're trying to bring Nathan Curry back in. It's down to him. Brentford have accepted the offer. Will Nathan Curry come back? We haven't got any of the recent offers for Harrison Davies on here, though. We've not brought anybody in January. I say that. This guy's arrived. I think we signed him in the summer. This was a bit of a waste of 63 grand. He's not very good. He's just turned up. So that was a bit of a waste, but we've not let anybody go. We are clinging on to Harrison Davies, but he is unhappy now that we didn't let him join Crystal Palace. For context, they offered £140,000. Now, luckily, Mrs Wearmouth didn't step in at any point. I was able to just turn it down. But the fact that he thinks that's a reasonable amount of money means it is going to be a challenge to keep him at the club if a bigger offer comes in. So we might have to resign ourselves to the fact that Harrison Davies might be on his way out of the football club. I have set a £5 million asking price on him. I tried to offer him a new contract to get the extension clause in, but because he's now unhappy, we can't do it. So we can't even glitch it and make him stay. We might be losing the best player we've ever had, and that would be very sad. So the team for the Lincoln game, we're going with Wright in goal, a back four of Bachelorette, Pitetta, Davies, Campbell and Frangos, Bandera and Wenton in midfield, Slam Dunk and Whittaker out wide, Pritchard and Cannon up front. This kind of hybrid of the two systems that we've used a lot in FM21 this year does seem to be starting to work. It's based on the Kettering 4-2-3-1 Gegenpress, but also leaning quite heavily on the 4-4-2 that we were using here with Home. And it's kind of a mashup of the two. And it actually does seem to suit our players, pushing the wingers a little bit further forward, but still playing with the target man. It's a very odd hybrid system. But as you've seen from the results, it has been working recently. So fingers crossed, we have figured out a way to keep this club going for a little bit longer as we continue our race against time to get up the leagues. I mean, you've seen the financial situation the club is in. You've seen the pathetic offers that we're getting for our best players. It really is a case of we've got to continue getting promoted every single year, get up these leagues as quickly as possible. Our youth system is already in decline. We can't afford to invest back into it. So the quality of our youth players is starting to decrease, the ones that are coming through. We need to get up to championship level, ideally Premier League, ASAP to get the money flowing back in again so we can then reinvest that back into the youth system. The perfect scenario is we go back to back to back straight into the Premier League, which seems very unlikely, and just it will take us 15 years to set in the Premier League to put a Premier League winning team together, because we'll have to be there a few years, invest the money back into the youth system constantly, and then have those youth players come through 1 or 2 a year, get to their mid-20s, and then we might win the Premier League. But it's going to be a long old slog. And if we miss at any of those promotions along the way, I really think it might throw a spanner in the works of the whole series and put the club in serious financial problems, with Mrs Wearmouth backing off financially, us not being able to sell players to keep ourselves alive. It's going to be an interesting next couple of seasons to see how the youth development mashes up with the money, mashes up with the player sales and the club reputation. And I'm not really sure where we're going to end up. And all of the practice run-throughs that I did were 5 years long, just to make sure that the club didn't go bankrupt and was still producing youth players after 5 years. We're in completely uncharted territory now for me. I don't know what happens here. It's going to be fun. Harrison Davies just put us 1-0 up. It's only his second goal of the season. He's not been anywhere near as dominant from positions like that this year, but it is still very nice to see him just absolutely thunder one home. Where is Pritchard while all this is going on? Pritchard looks like he's still hovering at the far post. I think I still might have my corner instructions set up wrong. How do I keep messing this up? I have. Why have I got Pritchard marking the keeper? They should be like that. Where? What? Okay. So get him there, and then that should be Davies. That should be Pritchard. Right, we should be even more of a threat from set pieces in this second half. Did I do a team talk? I feel like I didn't do a team talk, but I didn't get the warning saying I hadn't done one, so I'm guessing I must have done one and just not realised. I think the reason Pritchard wasn't set up for corners properly is because there has been a little bit of a run of games where Beereth has been playing as the target man again alongside Cannon, but we've gone with Pritchard today because Danny Pritchard doesn't let us down. Plus, we're rotating a lot at the moment because we're playing so many games. Right, Bacharek Piteta is going to come off. We'll stick Campbell out to left back, and Shay Charles can come on to play as centre back. We're also, again, we're just monitoring fitness levels of everybody. Troy Cannon can come off. Tyler Roberts is back in the mix and can come on for him. And then for my final substitution, we're going to bring Chappett on for Whittaker. He's one of the players that we brought in the summer. Probably the one we pinned the highest hopes on. £60,000 from Watford. He's played a couple of games now, a couple of cup games for us as well. He's starting to break into the team, and hopefully we can start pushing him through to be another one of this season's youth players who are starting to come through, because there's still, if you look at that team, he is the only one that we signed this summer just gone who's in that 11 that's on the pitch at the moment. And it is, considering we had a summer where we spent the best part of £700,000, we might look back on that and think, yeah, you're ballsed up there, Kev. You shouldn't have signed any of them. You should have just kept the money, kept the big bank balance, and then you wouldn't have sold Curry and you wouldn't have sold Davies. Hindsight and all that. Maybe some of them will come good. If Chappett becomes £1 million player, then it all becomes the right thing to do. Right, there's your confirmation. I thought that had already been accepted, but apparently they accepted midway through the game. That's weird. And then I'm convinced they'd already accepted that. But hopefully Nathan Curry is back for the West Ham game, which is after the window closes. So hopefully Curry is back and Davies is still here. That would be the perfect scenario for the end of this transfer window. Well, we've made it to the end of the transfer window. We certainly didn't get the perfect scenario. In fact, I think we were definitely leaning towards the bad end of the scenario. Nathan Curry turned us down. Harrison Davies, we turned down £250,000 offer from Crystal Palace. He then requested to go on the transfer list. I turned him down. He's now training terribly. He's got a proper grumpy on. He is fully unhappy at the club, but he is still here. It's now just going to be a question of the fact that he's our team leader and our captain and our longest serving player. I mean, I guess the one thing we've got in our favour is the fact that these 7 players disagree with him. He doesn't have anyone on his side. They all disagree with him. Whereas lots of people agree with Micah Beerif that we need another midfielder. I tried to get Nathan Curry in, but we've got some senior players disagreeing with Harrison Davies. So fingers crossed he's not going to too negatively affect us. I am interested in looking at this guy, though, Nicholas Munch, who's left Gillingham. So Gillingham are in 13th place, so below us in the league. He's gone into Brentford's under-18s for 1.7 million. Why can he get 1.7 million, whereas we get offered £250,000 for Davies and he gets a grumpy on? Is it just down to club reputation? Gillingham are a 2-star reputation club. We're 1.5 star. Is that all it is? We need to make that step, another reputation leap, and then all of a sudden we can get better offers for players? Or is there some unwritten thing that I'm not aware of? Either way, I don't think this is realistic to what would happen in real life. I think Harrison Davies would, at that kind of price, say, yeah, fair enough, I'll stay. And if Paris really want him, they offer £4 million for him. It's Charlton who are in for him now. But, they offer a decent amount for him if they really want him. And if not, he knows they don't really want him. I don't know. I struggle a little bit with it. It needs fixing. But I don't know how you identify that it's broken, especially because we're a Create A Club and reputations and stuff are probably not fully in sync with the rest of the game. Is that something we can check? Can we look at club reputations somewhere on here to see how we match up to other clubs? I don't know if we can. We can look at finances, I guess. So we have the highest net spend. Yikes. We have the lowest wage budget, though, which I guess makes sense. We have the lowest attendances by a long way. There's not an actual reputation thing on here, though, is it? Let's go play West Ham. That'll help our reputation if we beat them. So, time to play West Ham. This is a West Ham side who are top of the Championship. So they're in pretty good form. I think they're probably going to batter us. Looks like they've been very up and down in recent years. Relegated in the 2022 season. Up as champions 2023. Relegated 2024. Looks like they're going back up as champions again 2025. West Ham have turned into West Brom. Meanwhile, West Brom are still West Brom. Because if we look at who's second in the Championship, it's the Yo-Yo Club. Doing, 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 doing. Yay, West Brom. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, shall we, we're going to lose, aren't we? We're going to get absolutely smashed today. I'm actually toying with the idea. These two are complicated because they can both play the other way around and cut in. And if we were just doing full-on gegenpress, I would say, yeah, have them cutting in. But with the two strikers, I kind of want them to stay wide and still get the crosses in for Pritchard. So I'm playing them this way round at the moment. We could swap them around the other way and have them both cutting inside and really push forward and push the fullbacks on a bit more if it comes to it. But for now, this is what we're going with. Right in goal, a back four of Bachelorette, Pitetta, Davies, Charles and Brewerton, Bandera and Popon in midfield, Jessup and Redmond out wide, Pritchard and Cannon up front. I have fixed the corner instruction, so we've got Pritchard and Davies both together at the front post with a combined height of close to 13 feet. That's not really how you measure these things, but, they're big boys. And hopefully, if you know what Danny Pritchard's like in these big games, he's already scored against Man City in his past. Oh, we're doing a long throw. Love a bit of a long throw. Pritchard was lurking in there for that as well. That would have been a lovely way to make the breakthrough, but it was not to be, and the West Ham goalkeeper just comes out, collects it comfortably. It looks like we've got a complete sellout here at the home of football, but there was a pre-match inbox thing saying how 4,000 West Ham fans were coming, which I think is a little unfair with our capacity of 5,000, and we've already had a game in the league earlier this year where we had 3,500 home fans turn up. Why are we restricting that to just 1,000 of them for this game and letting 4,000 West Ham fans come and make this away game into a home game? Seems like an odd decision, and they're already winning, and I think this is going to be a different experience to the Manchester City game that we had last year when we were in incredible form, and I suspect that because West Ham are actually in better form than we are, as well as being a better side, obviously, because they were playing in the Premier League last year, I suspect we're in for an absolute pasting today. But maybe we can sneak a goal with a long throw. It's from Bachelorette Pitetta. Pritchard with a flick on, and Redmond really should be scoring there. The goalkeeper was out of position, and he's hit it to the one part of the goal where the keeper could get there in time. If he just leathers that when it bounces clear, he had an open goal initially. Lovely save from Captain Cartwheel. And there's been 2 game-turning moments there. It could be 1-1 quite easily, but also we could just as easily be 2-0 down. And as it is, 20 minutes in, it's still home 0, West Ham 1. And for as long as we've got these set pieces, there is always a chance. We have to believe while there's only 1 goal in it, and we've got Pritchard and Davies forward for these set pieces. But of course, we don't know if Harrison Davies is going to be up for it because he's got his grumpy on at the moment. We should strip him of the captaincy, really. But we don't really have anyone that I'd want to give it to in his place. If Bacharek Piteta was here permanently, I wouldn't have any hesitation in putting the captaincy on him. I even said years ago he would end up being our long-term captain before he left. So we need to kind of try and re-sign him permanently. I think his contract at Blackpool expires next summer. And long-term, I think he probably becomes the captain when Davies leaves. If Davies leaves, maybe we've weathered the storm now. If we can get promoted this year, maybe he'll be happy in League One and never, ever, ever leave. I mean, let's remember, we expected him to leave 5 years ago. The fact we've got all this time out of him shows that we've actually done quite well. And probably he is justified in having his grumpy because he's given us a lot of years and it's now time for him to move on. There's comparisons with Ryan Lawson at Apollon last year, who I know he got sold early and then kept coming back on loan, but we got a good 5-6 years out of Ryan Lawson as a defender who came through our youth system. And then we just had to build for life without him while he went on to bigger and better things. And maybe that's what we're going to have to do with Davies. We've got Muir, we've got Charles, we've got Brewerton. There are options you can play at centre-back. If we lose Davies, he'll just be a big miss, and it's not going to be as easy to replace him as it was with Apollon last year, because we can't just go out and spend money to do it. We have to develop somebody else to fill that gap. We're 3-0 down now. This has the potential to be problematic. We've just played ourselves back into some decent form, and now just as we need to go into the league and benefit from that form and win our games in hand and charge back up the table again, we're going to have an 8-0 defeat. And I know it's against a much better side, but getting smashed is getting smashed, isn't it? And you can see there's unhappy faces on this pitch, and I don't know what effect this is going to have on the morale. And also, I'm looking at it thinking, this 11, this 11 could be playing in this league with them in 2 years' time. We ain't going to be able to cope with it, are we? We need some better quality players coming through, or these guys to start making the step up and turn into players who could potentially be championship players. And at the moment, the future looks questionable here at home as West Ham come at us again, and they are absolutely unstoppable, he says, as Captain Cartwheel makes the save and quite literally stops the unstoppable. Good work, Oliver Wright. We're an hour in. You know what? 3-0 down I can cope with, but sooner or later the fitness thing is going to come in because, as we know, we're young. We always struggle for fitness because we play a very, very young side, and players don't really stop needing constant holidays until they're in their early 20s, like 22, 23. And I don't know that we've got anyone who's that old. Pritchard trying to beat a defender for pace here is always amusing to watch. He's got a long stride length. He has that going for him. There's just a lot of him to get him moving quickly. And it's West Ham coming at us again. And Bacharek Piteta has been dragged out of position here a little bit by, I think that's Felipe Anderson for West Ham, who has now drifted into the middle. And with, again, Wright has had a fantastic game. He has made some saves today. But it is West Ham with the corner, floating it over. Davies was there, couldn't get there ahead of the West Ham player. And it goes over from them, and they're close to a 3 on their XG at the moment. It shows how well Wright is playing, that West Ham have not scored far more goals than they already have. Troy Cannon is in, and that was a big chance. We've had a couple of very good chances now, as shown by our own XG being up to 0.75. We have had opportunities to get goals in this game. One fell to Redmond early on in the first half. That one for Cannon again. Now, this game could be a lot closer than the scoreline suggests that it is. We are going to take off. Who have we got who can come on wide? Let's bring some experience on. Slam Dunk's going to come on the left-hand side. And you know what? We're going to bring on Terrell Whitaker as well. We're going We're going to change things up in those wide areas, and we've got a corner. It's Cannon to take. Looking for Davies and Pritchard, both lurking at that near post. It's the first corner we've seen this afternoon, but West Ham deal with it relatively comfortably, and now they're building themselves a nice little counter-attack again as we luckily managed to get everyone in position. It's a very slow counter-attack. If they'd have just hit us on the break here, they'd be 4-0 up, but they might end up 4-0 up anyway because they are just keeping hold of the ball, and that is a big, big miss from them. I don't think there's any way back into this game for us. I'm not going to push to more attacking system because I think if we lose 3-0 or 3-1 even, it doesn't look too bad. It's a slam dunk corner. And they still deliver. Danny Pritchard adds to his collection of goals against big teams in big games. It's what Danny Pritchard does. And we have had some corner takers over the years, but the slam dunk corner has never been properly replaced. He puts it on a sixpence inside that 6-yard box. It's beautifully done. If only he still had the legs to play in the rest of the team, all he can really do now is hit corners. But when you've got those two lurking at the near post, it almost makes it worth having him in the team just to hit those corners. It's now Home 1, West Ham 3. If it ends like this, we might actually be okay for morale at the end of it because we've grabbed ourselves a goal and we've not been absolutely smashed. Oh, that's poor defending from the set piece. And Wright is there again. What a match Oliver Wright is having. He is already the all-time record appearance holder here at home. He's becoming a cult hero because of his cartwheels. And he is playing brilliantly in this FA Cup game. It's a man-of-the-match performance from Oliver Wright against championship opposition. And look at the bombardment his goal has been under. He has made some saves today. We haven't won the game, but you know what? We've gone down swinging, playing our own game. I'm very proud of what I've just seen from these boys today. They're inspired and motivated off the back of the team talk, and hopefully morale has survived. Oh, it's Harrison Davies. I thought, why is this in the wrong order? Morale has survived. I think we should be okay. Did we make decent money for that? Not really. Not really very much money. Oh, we're still £1 million in debt. It's not like an away game, is it? But the important thing is the morale has survived. Now we need to go and get some more league games under our belt. We'll probably come back around the end of this month, around the Burton and the Tranmere games, by which point, hopefully, we've played some of those games in hand and we'll be back into that promotion mix. That's what we're looking for. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.